Hello, everybody, and welcome to the dojo. I'm Mesa.
Woo! I'm Va.
I am John.
And I'm DT.
And this is Ninjago Cast, Masters of Pod Jitsu. Hoya!
I messed it up already. That's alright.
Do you always go? What I always
back,
go?
whip around and spin.
I always go jump up, whip back, and I'm like, nope. I've already
not
missed
it.
that.
Jump up, kick back.
Yeah, kick back.
Kick
The one
back.
thing that there was a lot of kids doing this. Their spin jitsu moves at Lego Live. It was pretty
They
cute.
were.
So cool.
It's actually pretty cool. We had
You know, actually,
go on.
the cutest thing that I saw, because like right next to our stand at Lego Live, there was this giant like brick built statue of Wu. And the cutest thing was like every kid running up, like shouting "Master Wu" and giving it a hug and everything. It was adorable.
Oh, I didn't
I
get
kept
this
track
song.
of who said Master versus Sensei, because that's how you tell who's an OG fan.
That's true. How many kids were OG fans, Meso?
Not as many.
I saw. There's one time I looked over, and no joke, a kid went up to the statue and like knelt down and started bowing before the statue of Master Wu. I was like, oh,
Apparently, we're not
there you go.
live.
Are we not live?
Apparently, we're not live.
I'm looking at our stream right now.
Oh, we might be private.
Oh, did you? You gotta put it back when you're. Come on, dude.
Well,
All right,
to
so now
put
we
it-
can
to-
try
to
again
put it-
and do the lyrics right.
To put it back, I would have to go back into streaming mode, yo. You should check.
No, you don't. On the live stream tab on the thing, you can actually just go from privacy from private to
Well,
public.
I don't use the live stream tab.
Well, you
I just
should.
I just use XSplit. Why would I? It's private.
Well, you need
Says
to
it-
tell because
alright,
we don't
on the
ever know when
homepage
you
of
do
your-
your. What?
Don't
On the homepage of
fight.
your channel, it says it's
Just
live.
check.
But on the video section, it's not live. I don't see it anywhere else.
Yeah, it's man. Whenever you do these let's plays, man, you gotta
No,
like.
it's
what-
live.
why don't you just record it? Just do a local recording.
I do both.
It is live.
Okay, are we're all nice and active and here to talk about Ninjago. Awesome.
So we don't need
Looks
to
like it.
restart or do it.
No, the video's got it. Just everyone's gonna be tuning in here a little late.
All right. Well,
Fair
for
enough,
those
it's fine.
tuning in late, welcome to Pod Jitsu. But that's yeah.
Jump up, whip back, kick around, and spin.
Exactly.
So was the Weekend Whip? Do we know if their name was made after the song? Was it like the band?
What?
Like-
Band's name
The
is
Fold's been an established band for a while.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't know.
I actually recently, a few days ago, I was going through an old desk drawer and I found some paper that I printed out in spring 2011 with the Weekend Whip lyrics on it.
No way.
Really?
Yeah,
Wow.
from when I was a fan for the original year of Ninjago.
That's awesome.
Man.
That's a long
Kick
time
it in
ago.
old school.
I remember when it came out and it was like, I remember even then thinking like, oh, it's a little like BIONICLE, but you know, it was system and I
only
was a
got
cool construction kid and of course didn't bother to deal with the most successful Lego story theme of all time.
Excuse me, John. Did you just say construction and cool in the same sentence?
Those things
The
don't
cool was
go
under
together.
the quotation marks bar. I was being sarcastic. There was nothing cool about being a construction fan back then. Unlike this episode of Ninjago, which starts off with Sensei Wu walking in the cold.
Thanks, John. Great
You're
segue.
welcome.
So today, for
Nice.
Ninjago Cast, we're going to be talking about two episodes. Episode 78, Snake Jaguar, and episode 79, Dead Man's Squall. Now, let's go ahead and start things off. Episode 78, as John so eloquently put, Sensei Wu goes walking in the cold. It's another flashback. He goes to meet Zane when he's younger. And we get a little interesting piece of exposition saying that the elemental master of ice came to visit Dr. Julian and Zane at one point, and he was particularly interested in Zane. And I think we're finally going to get an answer as to how Zane could be the elemental master of ice despite being a robot. I think he passed his powers on to him for whatever reason. So maybe we'll learn about that in the future. But flashback cuts away, Zane's infiltrating the Sons of Garmadon headquarters, and we meet Kilo, who totally has the voice I expected him to have. 100%. I don't even know how to describe his voice. Almost gentlemanly, in a sense.
Yeah.
He has like some kind of accent, but I can't place it. But it's not what you'd typically expect from a Big Fig character. That's for sure. And in typical occultist, death resurrection cult fashion, what better way to join than with a bike race in broad daylight? So the Sons of Garmadon initiate Snake Jaguar in. They're racing in their bikes, but they're tipped off by somebody calling in from a green phone. I wonder who it could be. And that person says, one of the ninjas infiltrating. Stop him. So a high-speed chase ensues, and they try to run Zane off the road. Eventually, Kilo dons the mask of deception, and in true deception fashion, lifts some rocks and almost crushes Zane. And then at the very end, it's discovered that Mr. E, crazy four-arm guy, is actually a Nindroid. Simultaneously running with that whole plot, Cole finds a baby. And that's pretty much all that happens with that. It's common speculation that the baby is the vessel they're going to use to revive Lord Garmadon.
Oh, it's
I
just
have theories
Voldemort.
about that baby.
But there are a lot of theories we'll get into a bit later. That's essentially episode 78. Cole makes off with the baby, runs away, and boom, there we go. Episode 79 was quite the roller coaster ride. Let me tell you that much. Starts off with another incredible, well choreographed fight scene between Zane and Mr. E. Hand-to-hand combat, no
really
weapons.
Good. It was really
Hand-to-hand is a rarity in Ninjago whenever we actually see a straight-up fist fight. And this is probably the best it's ever been. Zane just gets completely decimated by this dude. And they're really building up his mysterious identity, so there has to be a big reveal to come from him later. So now we're juggling two reveals, the quiet one and who is this dude. Essentially Zane dies. And they fade in to the intro music with the somber death theme instead of the new
that was amazing.
song.
It was really good.
The whole intro, and I'm like, oh, that's probably gonna traumatize some kids.
It's like watching Optimus Prime die.
Essentially. So the ninja go find Zane, they pick him up, they airlift him out, they hook him up to the machines, do some surgery, but oh no! Mr. E slipped a creepy looking spider into Zane, and it hacked into the whole interface. A skull spider, exactly. So everything goes offline, Pixel gets hacked, and what a great time to reveal that Pixel is, indeed, Samurai X, because nobody saw that coming.
Especially not people that bought that set.
Of course not. So Samurai X also gets hacked and comes and fights the ninja. Fight scene wasn't as great there. You can tell a lot of their budget went to the intro fight. But it was
you wanted me to lose him, but it was still it was still a good fight, in terms of
it was very atmospheric in the rain.
Right. I like the
so
elemental
Lloyd
power
and Harumi.
usage.
Lloyd and Harumi fall off the ship. They've got a map that was wrapped with the baby, and the map is going to lead them to where the mask is. And they're going to try to find it on their own. All the ninja were still up on the bounty fighting Samurai X. Eventually, Pixel clears the virus from the system, only for the bounty to be disabled, and they all crash. And
again,
Zane wakes up. And that was basically the episode. Lloyd and Harumi are on their own. The ninja are on the crashed bounty again. And Pixel's identity is now known. Yeah. Let's talk about these episodes, guys.
All right, that's a good
What'd
summary.
you think?
I liked it. Pretty succinct. So the fourth episode. We'll start with the fourth episode, which is episode 78.
Yes.
Right from I always get the numbers. They always mess me up. And Ninjago is one of the few ones, and I understand why they have it because of the confusion about how many seasons does Ninjago actually have. But it's one of the few shows that I know that actually tallies up and refers to their episodes in sequential order. So instead of when a new season is gonna be season 8, episode 4, they will actually say episodes. Or some fans will say episode 77, 78, 79. I like the flashbacks they're doing. We'll start off with that. I like that they're cutting back
for sure. So do I.
Some.
It's about time we got a bit more character growth for some of these ninjas. So
and a lot of these are character moments too. They're honing in the relationship with Master Wu.
Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
Cole's getting a lot of development this season with the baby.
I'm
now
so
he's a
happy.
baby caretaker.
Yeah, especially Cole. Like he's really needed it.
Yeah.
As far as the episode Snake Jaguar is concerned, it was primarily a Zane-centric episode. We got to see a lot of the Sons of Garmadon. What do we think of that?
I think it's fine.
Well, I mean, I like them as a group. I feel like I know some people are kind of like torn, or I guess some people here, I don't know how the community is, torn on the idea of the biker gang, but I actually really like them a lot. I like the aesthetic. I like how
I think the biker gang's fine.
Yeah.
It's a good aesthetic. There's just a few weird things. It's like they're almost, the more this season goes on, becoming too on the nose. Like, there was a discussion between two like Sons of Garmadon henchmen. They were like, "Boy, it sure is gonna be good to see Lord Garmadon again. Don't you mean it's gonna be bad?"
I mean, that's
And I'm like,
Ninjago's
come on.
always better than
that's
that.
pretty typical
Yeah.
Ninjago villain, though.
Yeah,
we've had that.
Thinking
for a
about the
while.
skeletons,
Mm-hmm.
it can go up from there.
It hasn't been how
Yeah.
it's been presented so far, though. Although I suppose Mr. E is the anomaly rather than the, rule as far as like the raw intensity is concerned. But like back in episode 2, I can just remember the palace, the Emperor's palace scene would have been a lot less dramatic if we had random mooks making quips like that in the background.
Yeah, I was gonna say that's my main complaint about the Sons of Garmadon as a villain group so far. The main ones like Ultraviolet, Mr. E, and Kilo are all really interesting, but I feel like just the waves and waves of henchmen they have doesn't really work for me for a biker gang because there wouldn't be that many.
Right.
Yeah, I like what they did with Luke Cunningham, the character with the weird Exoforce hair.
Yeah.
The episodes go like they don't really do that. Give a random villain like that some personality, but that's all.
Yeah, all in all, it was a cool episode. I liked Kilo a lot. He had this really great line. It was like,
I was gonna say,
Yeah,
I want to mention that line. That
"What's
was
the
great.
number one rule?" But let me guess, there are no rules. Well, that just wasn't any fun. That wasn't.
That was a
Took
good.
the wind out of his sail.
I do like it when this show's been really meta for this season. It seems. I kind of appreciate every time it kind of addresses those like little things. I don't know.
Yeah.
It's some nice little like nodding towards the audience, especially the older audience that'll get it.
Yeah,
I
the
feel
mailman.
like-
See you next season.
Right. That
Yeah,
was
exactly.
what was the other one? The one where they're discussing like what Lloyd's powers are, and they're like, we don't really know. It's like some green energy thing. They definitely. I think the meta humor fits in very well, especially in a show like this, because it does come off as a humor that like is a bit more sophisticated, than normal. So like older people are entertained, but like kids who are just really good fans of the show also get them. It's not sophisticated because it uses a real world context that the kids don't get. It's sophisticated because it draws on the years and years of history that this show has, and so kids who have watched all of that, they can still get it, and they feel smarter for doing it. So.
Exactly.
Kilo is a good subversion of a character. I kind of thought he'd be like the Hulk. Like, oh, yeah,
So
the
gross.
big guy smash.
Yeah.
He did very well with
I'm just very
Wasn't too
curious
surprised
to
there.
know how these Sons of Garmadon people came about, how they formed up together, and how they got to this goal that they're doing, because a lot of the henchmen, they're like, "It's great to see Lord Garmadon again," like implying they saw him before. Or like his exploits were public knowledge, which I guess they were. Garmadon did stuff in public. He didn't exactly hide, but it never struck me that Lord Garmadon was like a famous figure who actually left an influence. The only truly villainous things he ever did in the public eye that could be attributed to him were during the filler season, in between
Yeah.
Snakes and Stone Army.
it.
So I'm very curious to see how he's developed a fan club. I hope they get into
Yeah.
that.
I mean, it was kind of a thing before in season 2, in the filler season, well, the beginning of season 2, which was the filler part. After he destroyed the Great Devourer, people were saying, "Oh, the ninja aren't the heroes. Lord Garmadon's the hero because he's the one that actually destroyed the Great Devourer."
True.
But that's like a positive thing for Garmadon, and it doesn't really work with
Right.
all evil things. So
Right. These people are clearly evil. They're not like looking for a savior. They're clearly wanting to like have someone back for an evil purpose. And we won't really know that until we figured out who the the quiet one really is, and after that subplot, we'll actually probably get somewhere. There was a scene.
Yeah.
Not to get too far away from this, there was a scene in the chase on the ground, on the subway, where I legitimately thought Zane killed somebody. Like, like there's that one scene where the guy is like, he gets knocked off his bike and it's on fire, and then you see the train comes and like it hits the bike and there's an explosion. And you're like, oh wow, did they just do that? And then it like cuts to the guy being like putting himself up against the
That
wall.
was close.
Well, they did something like that in season 1 too, when like the Serpentine were like taking over a bus and like turned into this big giant snake bus or whatever, and they kicked the driver out, and it looks like he got ran over by all the ninja cars, but turns out he's fine.
Yeah.
So they kind of like to do that sort of like subversion thing where it looks like the guy got killed, and they cut back to him, and he's like, "Oh wow, that was close."
Or even just earlier this season when the cars flipped in like episode 2 and they showed the people getting out of the cars.
Yeah.
They have to go through the trouble of animating the people getting out of the car.
It's probably like an actual like thing that like Legos like they have like a checklist, like, all right, make sure that whenever anyone's put in danger, that it's really clear that nothing happened.
I mean, especially with this one though, like I mean, that pushed it to the limit. I felt that was the closest I was. Like, I legitimately thought, even if the car is flipping over and the guy kicking off was like, oh wow, but this one I was like, there was an explosion, there was everything. Who knows? But,
Yeah.
Let's talk about the baby. Any comments on the
There's so
baby?
many theories there.
You mean Sensei Wu?
Yeah.
Yeah,
Come on.
totally
after the whole,
weird.
there were a few doubts before episode 79, but after the T thing, there's no.
The T is
Right.
right.
The T thing was pretty clear, I felt.
Yeah.
It's a very interesting decision. I'm not sure how it will affect the dynamics.
I kind of like it.
It's a little weird, but I certainly give him credit for originality.
So the thing I'm kind of like, I'm not too sure about is the baby Sensei Wu who got turned into a baby because of the time thing, or is it legitimately baby Sensei Wu who they will then send back in time to train all of them?
Ooh, that would be amazing.
Interesting. Yeah, that's interesting.
Yeah, there's actually, I saw a few fan theories about that, because the whole thing in the snowy forest at the beginning of episode 78 was totally messed with the timeline because of how old Dr. Julian was at that point and how old Sensei Wu was at that point.
Oh no.
And there are some fans thinking that there's going to be this baby that they send back in time, and then that's who they'll use to talk to them, to give them advice for the future, because that's how Sensei will know where they are. So yeah, it's what you said about how the baby is going to be the original Sensei Wu, which is just crazy to think about.
Yeah,
Well,
that does make a lot of sense because he found the ninja pretty quickly early on in the show. Like, he just happens to know where they are, and it's implied later on. Obviously, the show was written out like we didn't know at season 1, and I don't think the Hagman brothers even knew that the elemental masters were passed down from.
Oh, they're
generation to
making this up
generation,
on the fly.
right? So it's interesting that like they might try to use this to wrap up those loose threads and be like, this is how the ninja know what to do.
Makes total
Yeah.
sense.
It's like
Alright,
like your
it's
girl and
pretty
your
cool. It
grandfather
kinda-
kind of thing.
Kind of reminds me of the Jack and Daxter series, which is a pretty old game series that I don't think most people would really know. But there's like a cool plot thread in Jack 2 where like you have to like escort this kid around throughout the entire game and protect them from like the evil guys. But it turns out that you accidentally traveled into the future at the start of the game, and the kid was your character, who was sent back
Wow.
into the past. Yeah, it was like a crazy twist, but like it kind of reminds me of that. It was a really cool plot thread that I liked then. So I kind of like that they're doing something sort of similar now.
Yeah. It's like it's interesting to think about how that happens. But I guess like there is a whole other set of problems. Like like where was this baby? How did the first Ninjutsu master?
Where did
have
the
Lu?
baby come
Where
from?
Did the baby come from?
Yeah.
Not that that's gonna, not that the where the
I mean,
babies come from thing is gonna be the main answer that they have
Wow.
in Ninjago, but like you know what I'm saying.
Where did the
I'm
baby come?
sure we'll probably, maybe, hopefully, get a few more answers to that as the plot kind of unravels and like it shows like who actually like the identity of the baby is revealed. You know, because
Right.
right now it's still up in the air and it's still kind of a mystery. Like we kind of know who it is based on the context of the show. but
Right.
I feel like once they actually kind of reveal that plot thread, they might explain a bit more as to what's going on with the baby.
I'm waiting
I
for
want to know how
the.
the map got there.
Yeah, that's another thing I was gonna bring up is like, did someone send him into this point in time, and then for him to be sent back? Like, what's this whole? How does this whole timeline thing turn out? I don't know.
Yeah. I don't know. We'll find out, I guess.
All right.
Yep. Because
watching.
the only other noteworthy thing about 78 was Zane's Falcon got an upgrade. It's now a big, funky, brick-built, way less aerodynamic.
When was the last time we
looking
saw the
thing.
Falcon? A little while, right?
Think so.
'Cause I don't recall
I
seeing it
don't-
outside of season 1.
No,
I don't
it's been
remember.
around.
I know for a fact that it was titanium in season 4
Oh, okay.
and 5 and maybe 6. I don't remember it in Hands of Time at all, though.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't.
Okay.
I don't remember it being in the Hands of Time. And I'm trying to remember the first episode I saw.
I'm trying to
Possession
forget
the
Hands
other
of Time.
day. That was definitely.
Ninjago's darkest day.
It was like the season 4 Community. You know, it was the one thing where the creators
I
were
know.
gone for the season and someone else took over, and then it was like and then the creators come back and it's like a return to form. And it's so much better.
Yeah, I definitely watched
Oh
it.
yeah, I feel like Hands of Time being what it was makes Sons of Garmadon seem so much better in comparison.
Yeah,
Mhm.
no.
That's true.
100%.
Yeah, for sure.
All right. In that case, let's move on to episode 79. Dead Man Squall. Fight scene was awesome.
What a
We'll
great
start off
opening
with
fight
that.
scene. Who is? Can we get the name of this dude who's like apparently making all the choreographies so much better? I want to like tweet
Give
at
us the
him.
name.
Yeah, I want to I just
You're
want to
a
be able
legend.
to properly credit him because he's doing a stellar job. Like Ninjago has had some pretty good fight scenes beforehand, but this season, if we did a top 10 list, most of the best fight
Most
scenes
of
would
the
come from the
fights
season.
come from here,
I
with the
think.
exception of like Klaus versus Nia and Klaus
Right.
versus Garmadon. Like, what
Yeah, I
else?
feel like the only other good ones were what you said with Klaus and then the brother battle at the beginning of Hands of Time.
Yeah. The brother battle was really
That was
good.
good.
That was,
That
pretty
was
good.
really good.
Yeah.
We should do an
Yeah.
updated top 10 list, honestly, once the season's out in like HD.
Heck yeah.
Let's do it.
It's gonna
I've
be
got
all
a-
Hands of Time.
I've actually been editing partially a season like this a little series on why the choreography is so good, but we can't release it because it's not in HD quality, so I'm like waiting for the American release to come out, and then it's like this is the ones we have now are like pseudo HD, you know what I'm saying? Like they're high enough to
do.
watch, but when you bring them into any editing program, you see the pixelation and everything on it pretty quickly.
Yeah. Zane gets absolutely destroyed by Mr. E. So let's talk for a second. It's not even a contest. Like, they're both Nindroids. Zane's not even, like... He can barely do anything, and Mr. E doesn't even break a sweat, figuratively speaking. So let's talk about who this guy could be for a second. It's like... I still kind of think he's the Overlord, but the more it goes on, the more I'm actually not sure.
Isn't it that?
I think it'd be really weird if he was the Overlord.
Yeah, he's the other Nindroid,
Yeah,
right?
so
What's
you're
his name?
cutting out for me.
He couldn't be Cryptor. Cryptor's a non-character. That wouldn't be a reveal. Plus, Cryptor's dead.
I still think it's I think it's Echo Zane.
Yeah, honestly, Echo Zane's the only one that makes sense to me. I can't
Mr.
imagine him
E.
being any other. Oh, Mr. E, Echo Zane.
Echo.
Ah.
Or people are thinking like a weird Bizarro's. I heard people think it's the weird Bizarro Zane thing because like for the Bizarro Zane they would spell his name backwards, Enaz, Mr. E. That's crazy but
Enes.
I can see them doing that.
Okay.
Yeah. Because it just seems like this guy has so much power, and they're building it up to be some kind of reveal, but there's a very limited pool of people it could actually be that would have some kind of significance to Zane whilst also being
Yeah,
a
it's-
robotic body.
The thing is, it has to be a character that we recognize. Otherwise, the mystery plot wouldn't be there, right? It would just be
Yeah.
just a normal random mook. They wouldn't try to
Well,
keep
we
the
know
identity
for
as
the
a big
fact-
secret.
We know for a fact that he is voiced by Brent Miller because of the reverse audio in this episode, but so I think that makes it only possible to be really Echo Zane or Zane's original body.
Mhm.
Yeah,
For
I
sure.
just
His
can't think of
original
any
body would be
other
really cool.
like. I just can't think of any other character it would be in terms of like a writing standpoint, like why this character would be so important to this plot and why it would be so important to have him go up against Zane if it wasn't Echo Zane. I can't think of anything else.
It's his
Yeah.
dad in a new robot body.
Oh,
That's
God.
what Zane was, just a prototype. He's transferring his consciousness.
Like
down
if
the
it
line.
was the Overlord, then why would the writers put him up against Zane of all characters?
Well, because Zane killed the Overlord.
Oh yeah, well
Yeah.
That's the only thing I could see. But I
I
if you were
guess,
to bring
but
back
like
the Overlord, I don't think they would make him a secondary
right,
villain.
right. No, I think that's it's a good like counterpoint, but like I think it's pretty clear that it's Echo Zane. From all the reasons that you
hope.
guys gave.
There's still no reason why he'd be evil.
Yeah, but his arm did fall off, which is like an Echo Zane signature thing. His body falling apart.
Mm-hmm.
So
Then the
I-
ninja pick up Zane and they bring him into robo surgery, and there's a creepy spider, which was creepy.
Well, let's talk about like Zane's death, kind of, which was a
It was
very like
traumatic.
I would have. Granted, this is the second time he would have died, so it's
Stop
not like
picking on the ice characters.
I do think it's very interesting that like the great scene and the great intro that he came to life before the end of the episode. They kind of didn't leave that hanging. I was kind of expecting, and granted, this is because of like what Tommy Anderson said on Twitter and everything. I was kind of expecting them to be like, "Oh wow, they killed Zane straight up," and this episode is not even the finale. And then at the end, it's like, "Oh, he's just okay."
It was more almost for traumatic imagery than anything else.
Right, right,
And it
right.
was very
it made
effective.
for a really cool intro though.
Yeah, it did.
Yeah. Also, from an animation standpoint, it was much different than they've ever done before. They actually like scuffed up the character model, like bent the panels on his chest, and like they opened his face.
And you can actually
And
see
before, when they
wires
opened
sticking
his
out.
face- yeah, before when they opened his face, it was just like a decal, like a print on his face when he like the 3D model of the panel came off. But this time you can actually see the 3D wires.
I'm
Exactly.
gonna post a little gif of this so you guys can see it. But yeah, basically it is very different to what they've shown before. That's a good point. I'm not sure like Lego has always been a little weird when it comes to like what the deal with the decals and the world that they have. Like are the ninja change clothes a lot, so it's obvious that the decals, like they are supposed to be clothes on top of the person. But beforehand, like you said, the idea of like it just being a non 3D, just like a flat print on a 3D model, and now being 3D, it was a very conscious decision, and I'm kind of glad they did it.
Well, there's also a noticeable change in Sensei Wu in the flashbacks. He doesn't have a 3D mouth anymore, which he had all the way from the pilots.
Really?
True enough.
Yeah, it's
wow.
really weird. They've changed several things animation wise.
I'll
Well,
have to go back and see.
I gotta
that.
look this up now.
Whatever gets us these fight scenes, I'll take.
Yeah.
Do what you gotta do.
I didn't know that. I guess like it's 3D because of the beard, right? That's why you had a 3D mouth before.
No, I always just remember that you could see his tongue for some reason moving around in there.
That
Good old
is weird.
Wu-Tang.
Okay. The
Wu-Tang
Wu-Tang Clan. Okay. I'm glad we're on the same stupid wavelength.
Financial.
Yep.
All right. All right. The fight scene with Pixel and everything was definitely again
Hold
pretty
on,
good.
Before we get there, can we talk about Jay stabbing Kai's hand with a fork?
No, first real
He's like-
violence in Ninjago.
It's like rolling around. He's trying to stab his food, and then like he gets Kai's hand, and he's like, ah!
I don't have that. GIF.
Why didn't
I
I
Comedy
that?
gold.
forgot
Yeah.
about that.
I remember him trying to get the food. I didn't remember him stabbing Kai though.
It was a later thing. It happened right after. Here, I'll link at the time frame if you want. It's great.
Well, I mean, it the more they do with these character moments, the more they have like these little things, the more I really appreciate what the animation team this season is doing with the characters and they cut away from it too. I think that was the thing I found the most interesting. Like they didn't like obviously I don't think they could have shown it. I don't know how it would look if a fork stabbing Kai's hand, but like
Very strange. That's how it would look. But it's just those little gags I love. And then the creepy spider in Zane was sufficiently creepy. Again, Just gonna say, Mr. E puts a spider in the Zane. The spider is the Overlord purple color scheme. Just
Well, I
saying.
mean,
And Harumi was singing the song about the spider.
Yep.
Yep. Dude, I mean, listen, if it's not Harumi,
I
then
think Harumi is a good person with no ulterior motive. You know?
The
I think
phone
it's
was
true.
green.
No, coincidence.
The phone
Fire
was
Team
green.
Osiris, the phone is green.
She's a good person. She's just a princess trying to live her life.
I will say though, I don't think that's the case. I'm pretty sure we're pretty spot on with this Harumi guessing, but like, if they somehow subvert it and it's like, oh, it wasn't Harumi at all the entire time, I will like have to applaud them because
Yeah, that's
some good
that's
misdirection.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Also, I went back and saw some clips from the original episode versus now, and you are absolutely right. Wu's mouth was 3D, and I
Yeah, I just
cannot
sent
believe
the
I never
example of
noticed that.
It's very
That's-
weird.
It looks so
All
strange.
right, let me
Mm-hmm.
put this up on the screen.
Whoa.
That looks really weird.
Huh.
Yeah.
Oh man.
This
Well,
moves around in this clip too. At around like the 1 minute 44 mark. But
Let me see if I can mute it. So it can appear on this.
it's so strange, like the
It's really obvious in the
Ugh.
season 0.
Ugh.
Well, someone should point that out if they ever plan on redoing Ninjago TLDR.
Nice.
Oh man, you're so right. Oh man,
Isn't
why
it
did they
weird?
do that?
I have no idea.
It's
Like,
weird,
no,
like,
none of the other characters have it
Yeah.
either.
the beard moves so much, and you look at like the newest season, and like the beard isn't really moving at all either. It's strange. It's like I don't know. The really interesting. I wonder if they had to like remodel all these figures to go with the new like rendering
Lighting.
program that they're using.
I mean, like they probably did. I bet you those models have needed an upgrade for a good while.
Yeah, they're pretty
yeah.
old.
Yeah.
You can see
So-
the face models are a little bit off too. With
Yeah.
in the Cole flashback scene, Cole's eyes are significantly higher than they used to be.
Hmm.
Hmm.
I wonder, like, especially with Kai, how they're going to, if they're going to remodel that hair, if they do a flashback sequence with him.
Ooh.
You know, that's been one of those.
We don't really need a flashback for Kai because we saw their first meeting.
Yeah.
Yeah, we don't
That's
really
true.
need Kai.
That's true.
Back
But
in the olden
Zane's
days when
meeting
Kai was
was-
the protagonist.
Zane's meeting was before his first meeting with Sensei Wu, quote unquote first meeting.
That's true. You're right, because he got his, like, the Zane we know now is a completely different.
Yeah, I feel like if they're gonna do Kai's, they're gonna reuse the model of Kid Kai from
Hands of Time.
and they're gonna have Wu visiting them when they're young.
Hmm.
Kai.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. That
All
makes
right.
sense.
Another interesting thing that happened in this episode was they were like, oh, we need to go down below the clouds to get a signal or whatever so we can track the Quiet One's location. And Harumi's like, no, we don't need to do that. We need to stay above so we don't get spotted. And I'm like, yeah, that's a totally awesome idea, Harumi. That makes total sense. That's totally not just an excuse or anything. I totally subscribe to that.
Oh, look at that! It's malfunctioning. It's saying the Quiet One is right here. That's super weird.
Oh, that must be a bug or something.
Pixel must be hacked.
Yep, must be hacked. Another interesting thing that happened this episode: the ninja used elemental powers a lot in big, flashy ways that we haven't seen before. Like Jay using the storm to do like a giant lightning storm, and Kai doing a mega fireball, and Nia kind of coasting the
Nia was
bouncing
awesome.
down on water.
Yeah, both Nia and Jay had like some really awesome like. I was actually thinking of Thor when Jay like summoned the
totally.
lightning. You know, and like from that scene in Avengers where he like sticks onto the rooftop of that skyscraper or whatever. But they are
From
really
building,
using their
yeah.
elemental powers. To
Oh,
a
yeah.
huge degree.
But no spinjitzu,
No spin.
except for Cole Lloyd once.
Yep. And then the fight scene with Pixel. It was all right. You know,
I think it's all right because of we've been spoiled basically this season. I thought it was a actually pretty good fight scene, but like because of how good the others have been, it was kind of like, all right, well, you know.
Yeah. You can't really do the same hand-to-hand combat against a giant mech as easily as you can a regular person.
We saw that in the Wolverine when like they had a giant samurai mech fighting against Logan. It just kind of looked. It's harder to do massive scale fight scenes like that and make it look or feel as convincing because there's just nothing to that in real life.
Yeah.
There's the choreography.
This mech got just about as much screen time as the golden mech.
Ah, yes. Never forget the gold mech.
Yep.
Flies them there, nothing else.
And then, of course, we have the most cringeworthy line that gave me PTSD at the very end. I had to keep my identity a secret to protect those I care about. And I'm like, okay.
That line
Go
would
on.
only be valid before the ninja became celebrities in season
Go
6.
on, Pixel.
Right.
Why? Please explain. Why does that make any sense? And I know it's not the Hagman's fault. That's a carryover from the stupid Pixel Nia scene from before. But now that we
Ahead
know
of
it's
time.
Pixel 100%, it makes absolutely no sense.
Yeah, no, it really doesn't. It's kind of like the thing too, where like when Nia is revealed, like you're the water ninja, and she's like, why? And Tiffany was like, well, you weren't ready yet. It's like, oh, you mean the time when she was Samurai X and kicking all the ninjas' butts and saving everything by herself? She wasn't ready yet, though, right? She wasn't.
Yeah.
You were
nearly
not the
as
first Toa. You weren't ready yet.
You weren't ready yet. Come on.
Pixel is a non-entity. It's not like Superman, where it's like, oh, his identity gets out. The people he loves and is closest to will be put under scrutiny at the Daily Planet. No, Pixel is their AI assistant who nobody but Cyrus Borg knows.
Well, and
Heaven
even that, like the people
forbid
she's
Someone
protecting.
knows who our Siri is.
Yeah, it's like the people she's protecting are literally the ninja. So like it's like if Superman was in a relationship with Wonder Woman and worked with Batman at the Daily Planet, and he's like, oh, I can't let my secret identity out because they might hurt the people I love. It's like, all right, they can all kind of take care of themselves. In fact, they're probably more skilled than you are.
Yep.
Nightmare
have
Freddy Krueger in the
powers.
YouTube chat does point out right after Zane was like, and I bet to get out of my head, and Pixel was like, that too. And like, I would totally buy that more as an actual excuse. I'm so sick of being in your head all the time. I want a
Zane,
body.
this just messed up in here. I need a breather. I see all your thoughts. Kind of need to take a step back.
Yeah, that
It's
I
like-
can buy.
It's like that Black Mirror episode where that guy's girlfriend is in his head all the time.
Mhm.
And he's kind of like, she's
Black
kind of like, I
Museum.
just need a break. Yeah, Black Museum. Hey, it's a good episode.
Hey.
They're in Black Panther.
Creepy show.
That girl is in there. Yeah, so creepy. But
Yeah.
back to this other show that's not as creepy, Ninjago.
That was the end of the episode. Harumi and Lloyd are stranded in a forest, and I think that's where the double cross is going to happen.
Exactly like the end of the episode with the same thing that happens in season 4. The
Really?
whole crew's in the sky. Oh no, they're falling. Lloyd gives the other person the ability to fall not as hard.
Oh,
But
you're right.
Lloyd still survives.
That's true, huh?
Haha, this isn't a cartoon, guys. Immediately does the thing he says is not going to work. Like, all right.
So, Space Girl, let's talk
Let me
about
ask you guys something. Because I am not the expert on Ninjago lore. I have, unfortunately, I wasted all my time on Bionicle when I should have been focusing on Ninjago. Can they
Nice.
not do their elemental dragons anymore? Is that not a thing?
Well, they totally still can, but someone asked Tommy Andreasen the other day. He said they probably won't appear.
Okay, I think this is as good a time as any. Let's talk about Tommy Anderson's Twitter a little bit.
Yeah, I want to
Recently
talk
did a
about some
Q&A
stuff he did,
section.
Q&A
yeah.
over the weekend or over the past few days.
He did a Q&A session. He's been talking about a lot of stuff. Before his recent answers, it should be mentioned that for the longest time now, he's actually had an ongoing story serial-esque thing called Way of the Departed.
Yep.
And it's
Cool character development.
it's non-canon as much as anything made by the actual series. Manager guy can be non-canon. I consider it semi-canon personally.
I consider
would.
it completely canon.
So
Yeah, I
apparently, what it does, I've yet to completely read it, but from what I hear, it is his way of answering a lot of the plot holes and consistencies or stuff in Ninjago, like what Cole's scar from the Ghost Portal was,
Yeah.
why they can't use air jitsu right now. A lot of those little oddities are answered in Way of the Departed, so it might benefit us to give that a read at this point.
That definitely sounds interesting. I definitely want to check that out.
But
Yeah, it's good.
He did a Q&A session yesterday on Twitter, and he essentially preempted it with, above all answers I will give today is this one. Ninjago is a show for kids. We prefer to entertain rather than explain. Often, that's your answer. We like old kids too, but actual kids are our priority. If we must choose between explaining why someone can't do something anymore or show someone doing something new and cool, we show them doing something cool. It's more entertaining. Sometimes you guys care more about off-screen logic than we do. And that's fair enough. I get that outlook. It's caused some ripples from people who don't agree with that outlook. You know?
It definitely was a thing where I understand, because we have to deal, like, we were talking about this. Some people are really concerned in the BrickFeed thing that we're doing for fun about, like, how do the physics work in this world? Like, oh, if Tahu does, this fire thing, well, the mass and the energy and the conversion, there wouldn't be enough. And it's like, okay, dude, he shot fire out of his hands. Let's just kind of like, can we just accept that happen? And then, right. But there's a difference between being consistent with your internal logic, meaning that if you go, these ninja learned this new move called air jitsu, and then it's like, well, why aren't they using air jitsu? Well,
yeah.
No.
Essentially, the powers the ninja have stacked on top of each other so much over the duration of the show. If they used them all, they would be incredibly overpowered. And I do sympathize with that to a degree, but I feel that's the kind of thing you would preempt by introducing these new powers with limitations.
Right.
Like, all this could have been solved if they had said, or Jitsu is a temporary power-up.
Can only use it once,
but it won't.
before it
Right.
Yeah.
peters out or something.
This isn't a new thing for Ninjago, though.
It's not.
No, it's not. They used to depower them regularly. Come up with
True
contrived
potential,
excuses. Like, Lloyd gets his powers taken by Moro. Ergo, every single other ninja must also lose their powers, even though they're all elemental master descendants as well. Yeah.
Yeah.
Stuff like that.
I wonder, like, I guess, like, that goes to say the consistency that, like, if you plan for longer than X amount of seasons, it'll pay off. Granted, the Hageman brothers, I'm assuming when they wrote this show and they wrote this pitch and they pitched it to Lego, they were under the impression that Ninjago was going away, and for a short amount of time, it did. They wrapped the show up. They said, "All right, it's good. The line was good. We're done, guys. Thanks so much for playing along." And then there was a whole thing. They're like, "Oh, actually, a bunch of parents called. We need you guys back on. We need you to plan out for these." And so, once you get to that point where you're not setting up, you don't have that idea to set up for a sequel. It is hard to make sure everything stacks up, and it's hard to have your characters still have stakes when they have already achieved their true potential and their dragon form, and they throw into new Zitsu martial art thing, and they know all the stuff. It's like.
Yeah.
Were there anything from the Twitter that you wanted to point out? Any cool, like, things that he said?
I haven't read all the tweets personally. Essentially, I see a lot of kind of that stuff. Read Way of the Departed. No spoiler questions. He said the Overlord might fit into the tale of the Oni and the Dragon to keep an open mind. Someone asked him, "Do you have plans to bring Wu and Good Garmadon back ever?" And he says, "No plans." So that's interesting.
There's some interesting ones that I'm reading down on the thing. There's one. Darth Droid asked him, "Why is the big man so big?" And he's like, "Oh, lots of food." So I feel like that's fair.
There we go.
Yeah. I'm trying to think. Jay's mom is no longer an elemental master. That is something I didn't know, and it probably was touched upon in Hands of Time. But do the parents lose their abilities when the kids are born, or what?
I would imagine so. Yeah.
They might, if it's like a spirit thing that gets passed on.
Did we ever see Kai and Nia's parents use their elemental abilities as adults?
Not that I remember.
I don't think they did.
Okay.
I've only seen Hands of Time once through, so
once you have a kid,
I don't recall them doing it. I believe the idea is that they pass it down though. So like once the kid starts using their elemental powers, the parents no longer have it. You can only have one elemental person firing.
Right. Well, it's very interesting then, because I'm thinking, like, imagine if, like, Kai and Nia's parents have Kai and they're like, you know what? I think that's it for today. I think we're not gonna have any more kids. Like, is the water elemental master just done? is there no like thing? I guess there is a way to transfer something that I'm assuming the Ice Elemental Master passed on
Transfer powers.
his abilities to Zane somehow.
It's probably something to do with Zane's power source.
It's interesting
looks
because
like
what would happen if the mom died without ever passing on her powers?
Right, exactly, right?
Yeah, that's interesting.
Another big thing that Tommy Anderson revealed, he has confirmed one of the steps necessary to make me buy into this whole Oni and the Dragon thing, and that is the Great Devourer's venom. Someone tweeted him the picture from the comics about Garmadon saying, did the serpent's
Yeah, it
bite
wasn't-
cause my evil, or did it simply bring to the surface what was already there? And someone was like, I had a theory about this. I didn't know it was in a non-canon comic, though. This would be the most awesome change to the Great Devourer plotline possible. And he responded and said, not a change, a fact. And someone was like, it was canon this whole time? And he says, that statement is and always has been. Don't know about the rest of the book.
Wait. What was the statement again?
It brought to the
Can you link
surface
that?
the evil.
Can you link the,
Yes.
the tweet?
It brought
Yeah,
to the surface the evil that was already there, rather
Okay.
than causing the evil.
All right.
Which was from a
Interesting.
non-canon
did the
comic.
serpent's bite cause my evil?
But according to him, that statement has always been canon, despite it being in a
Despite
non-canon
it.
comic.
Despite it being written pretty differently in season 1.
Exactly. So
Right.
that's a little highly suspect, but fine.
I mean, it's always canon in the sense that they retconned it to be always canon. You know what I'm saying?
yes, I do.
Yeah.
And
it's
I
like,
accept it. That's one of the changes necessary to make me buy into this whole thing.
I mean, it makes more sense. IMO. I like that more,
Yeah.
but I'm not sure if I really buy that it was always canon because it certainly didn't seem like it was.
Yeah. So now all I
Well,
need is a
interesting.
little exposition on how the Overlord fits into all this, and I can totally accept it.
I'm looking at some other stuff that I'm just going to mention that he talks about. He mentions that the Hands of Time originally had a sort of ending for Ninjago. He mentioned that the Lego does come up with set concepts, and then they kind of flesh around that, which I think has been done, several times before. Lego wants to sell the toys. They come up with a design for the toys, then they come up with a story to go around that. That's how Bionicle was too. But just so Ninjago people know, what Bionicle fans have kind of done for a bit. So this is a very interesting thing. I'm gonna copy this tweet as well. Someone asked him how many years ago was this photo taken, and this is the photo with Moro and Misako and Wu. This is about 15 to 20 years ago.
Garmadon, you mean?
Oh, yeah, you're right, Garmadon. The thing I always found interesting about this, and to tell that to a theory I've had for a long time, is that like it's interesting that both Wu and Garmadon are young for apparently hundreds and hundreds of years, up until recently, and then they became very old very quickly. They both look like older people in the last 15 to 20 years, even though they've been around for a good while. I don't know if that's an effect of the time thing, and maybe
Stress,
it's the baby
dude.
Wu.
Lots of stress.
See? I think it's love. I think they both fell in love with Misako, and that stressed them out so much that they just became old. That was it.
Man.
Romance is stressful, man.
Yeah, there's no answer for things like this. I think they got way ahead of themselves when they said 40 years for Hands of Time. I think that was really the kicker that just set this all into action of not making sense at all.
Right. The timeline's been kind of like, unless maybe there's two Sensei Woos and they send the one in time, and I'm kidding. That's too convoluted. There's going to be a J flashback in season 9. It's very odd that he confirmed that. Normally he strayed away from saying anything's going to appear in season 9. But he did say that there'd be a J flashback in season 9.
Yeah. He also says season 9 picks up a week after season 8, which means the two are going to be very closely tied
related.
together.
And we know that from the suits that have leaked.
Yeah.
Have you guys heard about that?
Yeah, we did see the issue set link. I don't know if we're
Yeah, we
allowed
saw those.
to show them.
I don't think I don't know if they're leaks or not because they were posted on like official Lego Facebook pages.
Yeah, I guess
Well,
they are.
there was no fully rendered images from Lego released of them. There were only fan pictures taken of them from the Toy Fair.
Yeah.
Okay.
Because
I
Toy
saw
Fair has
some
showed off at least Zane
renders.
and Jay's. So
Yeah.
I'll link that for anybody.
I definitely
Yeah.
saw some like spin jitsu renders where they're like spinning around and stuff. And they had
No,
their-
I remember seeing those too.
That's Ninja one. There's some little renders of that have been released, but nothing
Okay.
much else. But yeah, it basically confirms that the season 9 will be a direct continuation of season 8.
Mm-hmm.
Interesting. Okay.
Cool.
Yep.
Interesting.
Says, again, he reiterates this point. Did the Great Devourer bite Garmadon to turn him evil? It enhanced the destruction which was already in him. So, there is that.
The ninja, someone asked if the ninja have any memory of Echo Zane, which is actually very important for this season because we're theorizing that this guy's Echo Zane. Tommy Anderson says only Jay and Nia remember him.
Huh.
Yeah, that was confirmed in the Way of the Departed book. That only
And that
Jay and
makes
Nia
sense,
remember
too.
everything about Skybound.
Yeah.
Okay.
That makes sense with what was shown in
Right.
Skybound. So.
And they haven't. I guess they haven't gone back to him because reasons.
Who cares about a lonely robot rotting on an island?
I know, right?
Yeah.
That's not like Wally or anything.
That's why he's evil. They left him and abandoned him, and he's just rotting.
Well, I mean, that's why he's gonna stay evil. Now he's back. He's like, don't you remember
he's
me?
back.
Yeah,
He's
that
back
could
for
be why
revenge.
he was evil.
He's back for
He was
revenge. That's
abandoned.
true.
Exactly.
I like this thing. How did you come up with the idea for the Sons of Garmadon story? He says, a long discussion about what things we wanted to start wrapping up and explain. So essentially, they're taking a lot of the long-running oddities or mysteries and kind of putting them to rest.
This is a very interesting one. I don't really get it. Morlo at Morlo Artsit asked Tommy Anderson, will Misaka return this season? Was Lloyd leaving alone for a year? Don't you think she's a really bad mom? Lloyd needs her. Now she's the only person from his family. Sad face, broken heart emoji. And Tommy Anderson said, the ninja had a lit on their hands. Lloyd is the one to decide to focus on finding
A
Lloyd.
lot, I think he meant.
Okay, that's okay. But so essentially what happens
He's essentially saying Lloyd sent her away to find Wu.
That leads to my theory. I think the quiet
okay.
one's going to be Misako.
What the?
Whoa. That's
That's
an
why
interesting
that's
theory.
why the phone's green. Her color scheme's green too.
That's messed up, dude.
Oh.
Still Harumi.
How cool would that be if, like, Lloyd's mom, like, she was like, you know what, it's time for me to achieve my true potential, and ran like a criminal organization. Like, she
Why
turns
would she
into a
want to
biker
bring
mom.
back? Well,
She's
Yeah,
connected.
yeah.
She likes Garmadon.
It's true. It's true.
She
She
does
does,
like
want her
Garmadon.
husband back.
Those are 2 checks there. No, it's not my main theory. That was just my oddball
No, that's a
theory.
good-
of
that's a
something that
really good
mysteriously
one.
could work.
I mean, that would be a good subversion theory. I like that. If they
Mm-hmm.
wanted to do like a twist, that would be an interesting one.
Yeah,
Hmm.
and I think Harumi's can be explained away by the fact that they're setting up this whole thing with her parents. So I think she's the third party interacting. So there's the ninja, Sons of Garmadon, then there's Harumi trying to get the masks to resurrect her parents. But she's not like trying to resurrect Garmadon. So I think it's like a third party there. That was my theory.
Okay. Has anyone died that the ninja would want to bring back themselves? Like, besides Wu?
Hmm.
Is there anyone that ninja
Technically,
would
Moro died, but
Rip Mora.
nothing else. Oops, sorry.
I like this. Someone says, okay, we know Wu can summon a dragon. Can Garmadon do that too? Since Wu's a descendant
Ooh,
of
I
the
would love
dragon and
that.
Garmadon of the Oni. And he says, not sure Garmadon ever found his true potential.
Oh, poor.
What if he
Garmin.
does?
That'd be interesting.
That would be really cool. Like, that's like Garmadon gets his true potential and then fights whoever the Voldemort Garmadon is if they use the baby as a vessel to bring him back or whatever.
I love this question. Will there be a sequel to Day of the Departed? And he says, I think that story concluded nicely. No need to retread that. I agree. Leave that in the past.
But we are probably gonna know more about the Golden Power.
What was the most unexpected thing to happen while working on Ninjago? Episodes in 2012. We had 13. That was cut to 5 after writing had concluded, then extended to 26. All happened within 14 days.
Oh, gosh, how the heck?
That explains the filler.
Yeah,
It does.
Yeah.
It does. Moro is doubtful to return in Sons of Garmadon or any other season. Tommy Anderson says he knows where Misako is, but he won't tell us. Apparently Ray and Maya want to rest because they've been kidnapped for like 10 years. The
Fair enough.
ninjas' ages are old teenagers, which I'm assuming is like 18 or 19. I guess.
That means all the other
Teachers,
seasons
though.
happened very close to each other.
Well, they're like the only ninja around, so like they might have been teaching when they're like 15, 16.
They're like
The only thing that's like a
they're
little
like
sketch is that like
professors at a university. They're like 15-year-olds.
here's the interesting thing. Like 18-year-old Lloyd was like had a really squeaky voice, and he went through puberty at 19, and then he has a deeper voice.
Well, who knows what that?
He's
tea
a late
does to
bloomer,
you.
man.
It's true that the tea could have like it's like smoking, like smoking cigarettes, and made his voice kind of like grow a little, stretched it out a bit.
Yeah.
Jay and Nia have had a date after season 7, so that's cool.
Ooh. Who cares?
Aw.
I know.
All those Nia Jade shippers
fictions.
care. Yeah.
Cole and Nia shippers like me don't care.
Really?
No, wait, really?
Cole and Nia.
And on that note, we're gonna end this podcast right now. So thank y'all very much.
Semi-ironically.
Wait, okay, hold up. Messer, who's your OTP?
I don't really ship Ninjago, but I think I'm gonna go with Lloyd and Harumi because I think there's a lot of potential for that long term. I think nothing bad is gonna happen with it.
All right. Master Troll. Var, you got something?
In all seriousness,
No,
Kyler.
not at all. Oh, Kyler, yeah, I like Kyler.
Oh, Kyler is pretty good. I'm like, even though it's never been shown in the story and only kind of makes sense, I'm still on this Lloyd and Nia train.
Come on, man.
Doesn't make any sense at all, dude.
I remember
And
everyone
it
started
just makes
thinking
character
that when they saw the Ninjago movie pictures of the Ninjago City chase
Yeah,
with
that's
Lloyd and
true.
Nia. Everyone's like,
Lloyd and Nia is Anakin and Padme. That's what that is.
Yeah, but like he's older now and he's matured and he.
Oh yeah, we're in
she's the
episode
only-
2 now.
Yeah, exactly. This is
I knew
episode
you when
2.
you were 8, but
he's older now. I'm just saying. I'm just saying it makes sense from Lloyd to. I'm not saying it makes
I
sense
had to
from Nia to
babysit
Lloyd,
you back in the
but,
day. I
like,
had to stop you from picking your nose, but hey, now you have abs, so
abs do a lot. Abs convince me. Apparently,
Let's end this.
Ninjago. Well, hold up.
in this.
Oh,
Stop this
We're gonna end the discussion or end the episode.
in the episode.
Yeah, it's time to be
The
there.
episode.
Let's give a recap on the 2 episodes we saw. We got kind of derailed with Twitter, but there was a lot of interesting nuggets. What do you guys think?
They were good episodes. I really liked episode 5. Episode 4, I don't really remember too much about because I saw it before the trip, but I remember it being good. So
It was like 90% bike chase.
yeah,
Yeah.
bike chases are cool. I like Mad Max is the best movie ever. So it's
I feel like the
bike chase would have been cool if it was at night.
yeah. I do like the subway part. The subway part was really cool. Once it got out to the desert, then it was less interesting to me. I feel like the season is ramping. It's ramping up, and the first episodes, the first few episodes, I really enjoyed, and now these are still like with any season of any show, the 3rd and 4th episodes have to set up the midpoint and everything, and so like they're intrinsically going to be a bit more of a lesser ride than the impactful moments of the story, just because of what they can show. But I thought they were very good. Best season than Ninjago so far.
Mm-hmm. DT?
Yep. I can agree with what John said. Best season so far. My old favorite season was Possession, and I liked that one so much because it felt like one journey. One episode really seamlessly flew into the next one. You could watch it all together and feel like a single journey, and I feel like that's exactly what this one is doing. They're really picking up where they left off and not waiting from episode to episode to establish different things. They're fully establishing things through.
So essentially, you're
all
not
of the
big on the episodic kind of storyteller.
I do like the episodic storytelling, but I feel like it's really good when they feel really coherent. Like that's my main gripe with Tournament of Elements is that you can really easily divide the season into 3 distinct parts. Yeah, but I love the coherence of this season. Samurai X stuff is really cool. Samurai X looks really cool, and the animation has improved just insanely. So
yeah, 100%.
I like it so far.
Is there anything
Awesome.
you want to say about the season as a whole while we have you here? Because you weren't on for the previous coverages.
All right. Well, the season as a whole, I think it started off a little bit weak. I mean, of course you're going to, in my opinion, weak because I'm not as big of a fan of the chases. Like I wasn't a big fan of the Lloyd chase at the very beginning, but after that, everything has gone uphill, and I think every episode has really gotten better. I feel like the best episodes, in my mind, are always the most current ones. Either that means I have a pretty bad memory, or they're just getting better and better. Probably the latter, though. But yeah, I like this season quite a bit.
Episode 2 will go down in history as probably my favorite Ninjago episode.
Oh yeah, that was
Whatever
excellent.
number that was.
Episode 2
Palace Heist.
great.
And
Yeah,
like
no, that one fight scene where all the ninja are taking on Mr. E was just
4 arms.
fantastic.
Like that's new.
That moment was
Cole's
like,
flashback with the orange light cinematography.
Yep.
oh man, just everything as a whole, that episode was so good.
All right.
Yeah.
I will say one thing real quick. Getting a little tired of the glowworm bit. Like when it first happened, I thought
Yeah.
it was kind of funny. Now it's kind of wearing its welcome.
I keep
I'm
wondering if it's like
really
a
excited
reference to
for-
something that I don't know.
It's
I
a
don't think
real
it is.
song. So from the 50s.
Is it really?
I really hope that it's setting up for. They're gonna leave it for a little while, and then at the very end of the season, Cole's gonna sing it, and he's actually gonna sing it well. I really hope that's a setup, and it'll have something to do with his father. But
That'd be neat.
that's all really I gotta say about that.
All right.
It's just getting annoying.
Let's go ahead and wrap this up then. We will be back next week with probably just a single episode coverage of Sons of Garmadon. Leave your thoughts in the comments section below. If you think, Misako could be the quiet one, post that. I'm curious how many people think that versus Harumi.
I kind of want to do a poll now.
I think that Harumi is a good person who doesn't deserve the bullying the fandom.
Yeah, I'm gonna post a poll on Twitter about that.
And I look forward to seeing what the show does. Till then, I am Meso.
I'm Var.
I'm John.
And I'm DT.
And the dojo is now closed. We'll see you next week.
Later.
Bye.
See you around.